Hey guys, Chad Williams here. First, let me say thanks for taking time out of your day to take a look at this. I really appreciate it. I wanted to put together this video specifically for those of you who were in Ignite, whether you're still active or maybe at some point you decided Ignite wasn't for you, for whatever reason. Maybe you felt like it was too difficult to get customers, or maybe you feel like you didn't get in early enough. Whatever that reason is, I really believe it's worth your time to take a look at what's about to happen. Now, when they first told me that we were going to launch a cell phone company, I had no idea what to think. Honestly, I knew very little about the cell phone industry outside the fact that just about everyone I know has a cell phone. Today even little kids have cell phones. So I decided I really needed to kind of dig in and understand the industry and try to figure out what this meant for me and my business, and honestly to decide if it was something I wanted to pursue or not. So I want to kind of go through with you guys some of the things that I uncovered and some of what I feel like it might mean for you if it's something that you want to pursue. I want to take a quick second just to give you guys a little bit of background on myself. I am from Texas. I live in the Dallas area, and my professional background is in finance, real estate, and accounting. I went to school for a long time to try to be successful. I have a master's degree in real estate and finance, and I have an MBA with an accounting concentration. I worked for 6 years for JP Morgan underwriting commercial real estate. And so that background kind of gives me a unique perspective into what we're doing here to try to kind of dig in and do some analysis. That's sort of what I used to do in my previous profession. I left that industry to do this, honestly, because I didn't love going to work every day. I wanted to have more freedom, and I felt like there was a lot more income potential here than what I had previously. First, I want to start at the Stream Energy level and talk a little bit about some of the changes that have taken place there. There's a lot of things that are in the works, and honestly, the company is starting to feel like an entirely new company. And I want to go through these sort of one by one, and I'll talk about all the major changes that are taking place at the Stream Energy level. First off, we have a new CEO that's handling the operational activities at the Stream Energy level. We have a new head of our marketing division, which the head of Ignite has been replaced, and we have a new head of the marketing division. Number 3, new systems, and that's a huge one. And I know a lot of you guys felt like it was such a struggle to gather customers, to get them through the process. The new systems are fantastic. I've had a chance to take a look at those. Number 4 is obviously we have a new product. We are now a cell phone company. We still will provide electricity and natural gas in the states that we're currently in, and we'll still have plans for future expansion, but our primary focus right now is that we're launching a cell phone company across the entire nation, which will make us nationwide, and obviously that's the real game changer. So I want to kind of walk through these sort of one by one here and talk about what I think each one of these means for us. The CEO, Rob Snyder, obviously isn't handling the operational side of everything anymore. A gentleman named Mark Shiro has stepped in. And I think anytime you get to a point as a company where you're plateauing, you want to grow, you want to be more aggressive, it can be very beneficial to bring in kind of a new set of eyes, somebody new to come in and kind of start handling things. And I think it's been a very positive change. Now, the head of the Ignite marketing division, that gentleman has been replaced, and we've actually taken 3 of the most successful people from the field who are going to kind of head that up all together. The real benefit there is they know what it takes for a person in the field to be successful because they've done that. And I think that there's a lot of benefits there. New systems. The systems have been a struggle. I think that systems alone probably cost me and my business up to maybe as much as 30% of what my residual income could have been just from people struggling to get through the systems. I've had a chance to look at what the new systems are going to be, and they're fantastic. I mean, I think it's that alone is a game changer, and the only negative I can say is I wish we had had it sooner. But thank goodness, because I don't believe it's just a benefit. I believe it's a necessity as we move forward to really be successful. Cell phones. Cell phone industry is one of the fastest growing industries in the country today. I didn't know a whole lot about the cell phone industry prior to digging in, and I'm going to talk about why I think cell phones are the right choice here in just a little bit. And then obviously the big one is nationwide. I mean, that's everything. Being in at the very beginning of a nationwide launch is how people go from making a little bit to making a whole lot in something like this. It's the opportunity that we've been waiting for. And whether you understand it or not, it's the opportunity that you need if you want to do something big. So these 5 things together, honestly, makes it feel like it's a brand new company to me. I mean, we have a new CEO, a new head of the marketing division. We've brought in consultants. We've brought in new hires. We've changed several of our departments. We've got brand new systems that are going to be fantastic, a new product, and we're going to be nationwide. It's like a brand new company just launching, and we get to be in at the very beginning of it, which I think is huge. Now that we've discussed the company, I want to talk a little bit about the product and some of the things that made me realize that this is the right industry for us today. We will be launching what is called an MVNO. And essentially, just to simplify this, an MVNO is a cell phone company that uses the lines or servicing of one of the four big companies that are out there. Just to kind of simplify this, our four big companies out there are AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint. So those are our four big companies that actually have the lines and hardware for other companies to come in and use. So I didn't know what an MVNO was. My first question to myself was, are there any MVNOs out there that are having success, that are growing, that are benefiting, that are making a lot of money? So I began to dig in, and one of the first things I realized is there's a company called TracFone that not only is it having success, but pretty consistently for just about every quarter over the last couple of years, TracFone has actually been switching more customers quarterly than both T-Mobile and Sprint. So not only are they having success, and I find this to be kind of ironic, they're renting line space on these companies' networks, but they're actually switching more customers than T-Mobile and Sprint combined. So that told me, okay, MVNOs can have success. There are companies out there that are growing. This model can work. And just to kind of give you an idea of how big they are, they today have 22 million customers. To sort of put that in perspective for you, our compensation model pays out as much as $6.50 per customer. $6.50 per customer. Just to put this in perspective, if our company were to switch 22 million customers at $6.50 a customer, that means we would be paying roughly $143 million a month in residual income. That's what would be getting paid out to the field. Obviously, that is massive. It's a huge number. Now, we don't have to have anywhere near that success for this to be life-changing for us. I found another MVNO called Leica Mobile, which today operates in 17 countries. That's how much they've grown already, and they have plans to expand into over 30 countries by 2016. So that kind of opened my eyes to the fact that this could potentially be an international endeavor. And we're talking about nationwide. Obviously, nationwide's huge. That's what I'm focused on right now. But just to kind of understand how big this could actually grow. The model works. The MVNO model, there are companies to point to that are having success. We don't even have to grow to be nearly that large for this to be life-changing for those of us, especially the ones who are getting involved in the very beginning. So whether or not the cell phone industry and the MVNO model worked for me, I was beginning to kind of get some of the answers to some of my questions. Now, the next thing that I want to tackle here is the cell phone industry itself. The cell phone industry at year-end 2012 was a $310 million industry. At year-end 2013, it had grown all the way to be an excess of $400 million industry. If you're doing the math here, that's a 29% annual growth. That's huge. And I didn't understand how huge it was. I wanted to go and kind of dig in and understand what are other industries growing at. But to kind of put this in perspective, the real estate industry and the healthcare industry, they grew at a little over 4% for that same time period. Matter of fact, the average industry nationally is growing at about a tenth of that rate. So the cell phone industry is growing at almost 10 times the rate of the national average. Clearly, this is the place to be. So the cell phone industry, the MVNO model works. Now, to kind of give you an idea of how big this industry is, in 2013, the U.S. population was roughly 320 million people, but there were greater than 335 million cell phone subscribers. There's more cell phone subscriptions than there are people. It's huge. You know, when you compare that to the energy industry, I was trying to get one electric bill for a whole household. You know, now the average household has 4 lines. There could be as many as 4 points per household. There's more cell phone subscriptions than people. Another crazy statistic is worldwide there are more cell phone subscriptions than toothbrushes. It gives you an idea of how big this industry is. Look at how fast it's growing. look at how companies are having success using the MVNO model. We have what is essentially a brand new company that has dramatically improved from the huge successes it previously had, and you can be in at the very beginning of it as it launches across the entire country. Now, lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the compensation plans and how those differ and what that means for you and me. So first, I want to go through the basic 5-level residual chart, where this is you here, and your goal is to do 3 and 10, where 3 represents 3 team members and 10 represents 10 houses switching over for you. So if everybody did their 3 and 10, this would be your team here in the first column, and then this would be your customer base in the second column. Now, these would be the amounts that you would get paid on each and every one of these customers every single month. So if you tally that up and you build it down for each of those customers on every line, it totals $5,930 every single month, as you'll see over here on the right. Now next, I wanted to use real world numbers, so I looked at my team of roughly 8,000 people, and I took my team's actual averages. And the average person sponsors 2.9 people instead of 3, and the average person actually switches about 2.5 houses instead of 10. Now some get 10, some get more than that, but the average person coming in gets about 2.5 customers. So using those real world averages, this is what the compensation would equate to. So if you'll build down, then there's your team there on the left again, and your customer base there in the second column. And as you begin to add all that up, you'll see that it totals a little over $1,200 a month, which is still good based on real world averages. But then it occurred to me that one house no longer equals just one customer when it comes to cell phones. Most houses have several lines. So to the best of my research, I determined that in fact, the average house has almost 4 points, which meant that the average person who had previously switched 2.5 houses before would now actually be getting 10 points. So I wanted to break that out to see what that compensation would equate to. So using those real world averages and building down, this is your customer base here again in the second column. And as you apply that to the amount you get on each and every customer every single month, you'll see that using these real world averages in the cell phone industry, it equates to over $5,000 a month each and every single month. That means that cell phones literally have 4 times the income potential. And that doesn't even take into account the fact that nationwide means 10 times the available market. A lot of us made significant income when we were energy only. So what happens when 4 times the income potential meets 10 times the market opportunity? Honestly, guys, I can't wait to find out. Guys, I hope everything that I said makes sense. I hope you're beginning to see what I'm finally seeing for myself. I spent the last 6 months not working my business, not sure what I wanted to do, and I was struggling with one big thing. I didn't want to promise people something that I didn't feel like had a real potential or a real shot. Now, I'm not going to sit here and promise you that you're going to come in here and you're going to make a whole lot of money. That's really honestly going to be up to you and your own work ethic. But I do truly feel like the opportunity that we have is better than anything we've had up until this point. I've dreamt about being in at the very beginning of one of these things. I had this company brought to me back in 2005 when they were first launching, and I honestly didn't get moving all the way until 2009. I waited 4 years, and all of the people in the company that were making more money than me that I've never been able to catch, I've never been able to get to that level, they were all in right back there at the beginning when things were first launching. I know that it is a necessary component to get to that top echelon of income. It's just critical. It is. And I've sat here and I've waited for what has felt like forever to try to have another opportunity, another shot to be in at the beginning of something that might be big like that. I really believe that this could be it. We have a product that everyone has to have it. You know, sure, you don't maybe feel like it's like water or a life essential necessity, but it is. I got asked the question, would you rather go a week without electricity at your house or a week without your cell phone? I'm not sure. It's not an easy one to answer. My cell phone is pretty crucial to me at this point in my life. It's something I rely heavily on. It's a necessity. It's something that people are already buying. It's already in their budget. And by using this MVNO model, we can give them the same servicing through the same companies that they're used to, allow them to be able to keep the same devices that they're used to, and hopefully give them a discount on their bill and save them some money on essentially the same thing. We can capitalize on a industry where way more people have it. I mean, there are more cell phone subscriptions than people. It's enormous. And for the first time ever, in at least my business experience, we get to be in on a nationwide launch with possibilities of even becoming larger in the future. We get to be in at the very beginning. We're in a pre-launch. It hasn't even begun yet. We're at the right place at the right time, and we can do something huge. But all of that means nothing if we don't take massive action. All of those people that I looked at that got to that income level that I wanted to get to but just found myself unable to get there because of timing, all of them took massive action. None of them took it lightly. They put their heads down and all of them said the same thing. I worked harder during that period than I've ever worked in my life. You have a chance to do something big. You have a chance to make a life-changing income for you and your families. We are truly at the right place at the right time, but it's up to you to take advantage of it. I hope that you can see how this is like a brand new company, that things have changed quite a bit, and that we have an opportunity to do something special. If you get this and you understand it, guys, get started quickly. I've put a couple of videos down below to kind of help you get off to the right start. Put your head down, work hard, and if I can do anything to help you, let me know. I'll see you soon, guys. Take care. Thanks.